Yo, what it do, St. Louis? It
What's
is Tuesday
up?
morning, 7 a.m. So y'all know what that means, man. It's time
No.
for the St. Louis Hustle podcast. And yes, we're live and in living color. And as soon as Michelle
My bad.
turns her vibration off of her phone, and I hope
My
that's her
bad.
phone.
Wrong.
Nevertheless, we're gonna get the show
Ah.
started here in a second, ladies and gentlemen. Tell the truth and shame the devil, Michelle. What is going on
There's a
around here?
there's a sniper in the building. There's a sniper in the building.
So today's show, we're talking about maximum exposure, man. What are your children being exposed to that they should not be? And is there anything that we could do to stop it, man? We got this thing called the internet. We see
Man.
5-year-olds with cell phones, Michelle. Is there anything that we
Mhm.
could do to stop this exposure, or
Man.
should we just start having adult conversations with the children a lot sooner? I don't know, man. But we're going to get into that. Also, we're still looking for someone to help us with an intro song, some intro
Yes.
music, some outro tracks.
Somebody.
Don't forget, if you're a St. Louis-based entrepreneur, political leader, social activist, we also have our guest spotlights filling up pretty quickly. So right now they are free. So you can be a free guest spotlight. That's a 1 to 2 minute interview where we just kind of let you share your message, who you are, what you got going on, and why you do what you do. Also, make sure when you're tuning into the live stream, comment in the chat where you're from, drop the name of your business and or your brand. Just don't share any links. And we're going to go ahead and drop our intro right about now.
Boom.
And really, it's the fake intro, y'all. Well, it's the intro. We have the intro. It's just I have to insert it into the show later. You guys don't hear it live, but the folks who actually download the podcast, they get to hear the show. What's up, LaDonna? I see you this morning. As you guys are coming into the room, go ahead and comment in the chat where you're from. Let us know a little bit about what you do. You never know who might want to connect with you. We've got a growing reach, ladies and gentlemen. Some serious St. Louisans that are liking what we do. Instagram is growing over there. People are starting to find us on Instagram. A lot of great people following us on Instagram, like Sugarfire, the barbecue restaurant, following us on IG.
I love Sugarfire.
Man,
Sorry.
man, listen, we in St. Louis, so we get good barbecue a lot of places, man. But them doggone sides they be having, they be cooking up some stuff in them sides over there.
The brisket.
Sugarfire.
The brisket. Shout out to Sugarfire.
Yeah.
We got to roll through or something because I goes to Sugarfire. Where other people pack.
That's that joint, man.
Yes.
That is that joint. So let us do this. Let's go ahead and officially start the show because Michelle's got a lot of stuff that she wants to get to in this episode. And I am equally as excited to share my thoughts and opinions on this one too. So all right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the St. Louis Hustle Podcast. I'm your host, Cortez Hustle. That is my girl, Michelle. And we are coming to you live and direct from the Monetize My Life studios here in St. Louis, Missouri. Ladies and gentlemen, you've all been given a gift, talent, or special ability from your creator. Might as well learn how to monetize that thing. Turn those gifts and talents into income with little to no startup costs. If you go over to monetizemylifenow.com, you can check out the book, but I recommend you get the influencer bundle because you get the book and my course on how to become an influencer and how to use social media to get your message out there. So welcome. Looks like we got another entrepreneur in the building. Mr. Kenneth Martin is in the place. How's it going, my friend? All right. So Chalet, how was your weekend, Queen?
Man. The weekend was great. I told myself this weekend, Shell, I'm gonna stay home. I'm not gonna just be out there all willy-nilly. And I was out there all willy-nilly. But the important part is I told myself I was not gonna, and I might not have reached my goal this time, but next time I'm be in the house. But I be out, I have my mask on, I get out and I talk to people. I'm always talking about podcasts. I'm always talking about the wonderful things and the wonderful people of St. Louis. So, I kind of get out and do that.
Right.
One thing I did want to kind of bring up is I was watching the news,
Mm-hmm.
and Gucci got these new they got a new not clothing line, but they got a new product out, right? They got these new jeans and overalls or whatnot. And I know
Mm-hmm.
you're probably thinking like there's nothing new about jeans or overalls. Gucci been doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. However, these jeans and overalls, I said my mama turned it in her grave, have grass stains in them, right? You buy them on purpose with
Man.
grass stains in them.
Yeah. Yeah.
What kind of tomfoolery? That's the devil. That's how you know we in the end times when people buying dirty clothes. Who buys dirty clothes?
Whoa.
What is it? And here's the deal. Here's the kicker. The BMs go for $1,400, and
Wow.
the jeans. I mean, they're a lot cheaper. They're only $1,200.
Wow. With the grass stains in them.
With the grass stain on the butt and on the knees.
So you know where that comes from, Michelle. You know where that comes from. That comes
Nasty
from
people.
us not wanting to live our truth. Because see, we will have grass stains on and stuff, and then we say, "Oh, I can't go out in public like this. Let me go home and change clothes." See, we
Right.
should have started this a
That's what
long time
normal
ago.
people do. That's what normal people do. Go home and change. But you're gonna go spend several bands on dirty clothes? Like, and for real, what's the guarantee that them clothes, that they didn't just take them clothes and rub them in the grass, that they just kind of did the paint thing? You don't really know. They
They're
could
not
like,
even authentic grass stains, right? It's that
yeah,
Kentucky bluegrass. It's that
right.
St. Louis crabgrass. What kind of grass made those stains?
Super nasty. I don't understand, because that's what we are. We marketing dirty clothes. But when you got Gucci as your name, I guess you could just kind of, next they're gonna be like, okay, we selling poop stain pants.
Right.
They look like you shit on yourself. Just look like, sorry, Lord. Go around looking like that. You might as well. Why not? You know what I'm saying? And for authenticity, they make us smell like shit. So then you can just have this whole.
We got the whole line of skid marks.
You hear me? You know what? You just came up with a new product. Draws with skid marks already in them. There it is. And put Gucci on the bag. Negroes will be buying them and sagging so you can see them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, man. You see them skid marks, dog? Them official.
Skid marks. Yeah,
right.
I don't got regular skid marks. I got Gucci skid marks.
Right, you heard me? Gucci, them Gucci marks right there. Oh, dog, your draws ain't popping unless you got them Gucci skids. Really? Society? That's what we do. Okay, I'm gonna let that alone. That's what we're doing. I was watching on the news also. Y'all, this whole scandal with what's the girl named Ellen DeGeneres and how she was treating people crazy at her show. So she went. Her first show back was, first of all, amazing that she still got a show. Amazing. And here's the thing. I've been an Ellen DeGeneres fan since she first started, right? She used to be on the Johnny Carson show. She used to be on with Jay Leno.
Mm-hmm.
I've been following her career forever. And I've always known her to be funny. And yeah, I was following her before she came out the closet. What? There was such a time. But so all these people are saying how rude she was and the whole "don't look at me." I wish somebody would be like, "Don't look at me." These my eyes. You can't tell me.
Right.
Can't tell me where to look. Oh, you're fired? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. I won't get paid. Okay, I'm looking over there. Where do you want me to look at? I won't look at you. So it was hard. It was the first show back, and she gave this big, gigantic apology. And so some of the critics that I was watching were saying how it seemed false and rehearsed. And you know what? I think this is where we put just too much judgment into things. Let it be. The girl can't. Now she was screwed up. Y'all was on her butt. Mm-hmm. She tried to apologize. You still on her butt. That's that person that when you piss them off, right, and you be like, you know what? I'm sorry. I really should have did that. You ain't sorry. Yeah. You know what? For that stank attitude, I'm not.
You gonna tell me how I feel? I'm sorry.
Right. I'm not sorry. You sure right. I mean, they really kind of ripped her apart. And I thought it was cool the fact that she mentioned how she's like, man, this show I do is only one side of me. I'm human. I get mad. I get angry. I get frustrated. I get impatient.
Mhm.
I'm happy. I'm sad. I'm like anybody else. The only difference
Right.
is, millions of y'all are watching me, and I can't see y'all. I don't see you
Right.
when you get angry. And I
Right.
think that's so one-sided, and it's what you do
Mhm.
when you choose to take on that life, you choose to step
Yeah.
into the media, you choose to take that money. I heard this pastor call it this. It's the backside of the blessing, right? So up
Mhm.
front, you got all of this popping. Can you handle what's on the backside of the blessing?
Right.
Because it come with one. You know what I'm saying? Yes, it's
They
a
always
blessing.
do. They
Yep.
always do. And I didn't
Mhm.
follow the issue. I didn't know she was off the air. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you still have to realize that those same people who were complaining about being mistreated
Hmm.
kept showing up. They kept showing up.
Right. So they got fired. You must have peeped one too many times when she said don't look because you got fired. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, they kept coming in, they kept taking the money. And then when I
Yeah.
was so abused, it
Right.
was horrible.
Yeah.
What that mean?
Yeah.
Was the money horrible? Was the
Right.
money horrible?
It got extremely horrible when you got let go.
Exactly, because
But
your
when you
money
were
was.
there, it was not
Mm-hmm.
so bad. So,
I can
and I'm
tell
not
you.
saying that there's not workplace harassment and all of that
Oh
stuff.
yeah. Oh yeah.
This is why I do what I do in my other gig is I teach people the value of money because
Yeah.
you will only subject yourself to that kind of harassment or
Yep.
abuse when
Yep.
you don't got your money right. That's
Yeah.
it.
Mm.
When you get your
Say
money
that.
right, there's a whole lot of stuff that you don't have to take people.
Mm.
And
Not at
I'm just
all.
here to tell you that this is the importance of building residual income. This is whether I roll over in bed, shell, or roll out of bed and my 2 feet hit the side. It don't make no never mind. I got
Yeah.
money coming in,
Man,
so I
that's what's
move a
up.
little bit different because
Right.
I don't have to go get the bag, right? The bag has been secured and
Right.
it's
Right.
coming whether I go what I'm getting paid for today is stuff that I did 5 years ago. And
Right.
people
That's
gotta
what's up.
understand the
Yeah.
power in that and how
Yeah.
worth it is to
Hmm.
build it, right? A lot of people laugh
Right.
at what I was doing 5 years ago, Michelle. They was
What?
laughing like, man,
Who laughed at
are
you?
you
Anyway.
serious? Ain't no way you doing one of them little kind of businesses. I'm like, listen, man, I'm trying to buy my time back. And then
Yeah.
when I
I
walked
hear
away from a job October 3rd,
you.
2016,
Oh,
I'm coming up
what?
on my anniversary, Michelle. Yeah,
Turn up. That's what I'm talking about. When you gave the man the fingers.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
And then, now it's like, wait, what just happened here? It's like I told you, I
Hmm.
was building a little something on the side,
Yep.
and now it's built. So I'm going.
There it is. There it is. You got folks like me at the door knocking, like, hey, how you
Yeah,
doing?
yeah,
I'm going door to door, just seeing if I can get in on people hustle. Can I
yeah.
get in?
Can I get
Can I
in?
get
Can I
in?
get
Can I?
in? I understand
I
there's
see the light. I
I
see the
understand there's
light.
some side hustling going on over here. What you got going on?
Right. I see the light and I'm ready to walk into it. Can I go? Can I go? So
Yeah,
yeah.
let's see. Tony says at the end of the day, she is human, and they gave that title of the Be Kind Lady, but they just disgruntled people trying to bring her down, like you said,
Yeah.
that target on her back. But she
Yep.
will come out bigger, and I think that really, when
Yep.
you get when you get mad at somebody and you think
Hmm.
you have the ability to pull them down, and you
Man,
give it your best shot, and they
tell
don't
it.
come down.
Come on. You better know it. You better leave folk alone. That's what you need to do.
If they
Man
don't
your
come down,
business.
it's like you'll never have a show in this town. And just yesterday, her show was back. So,
Right.
so,
Right. Right. She's done. She's cooked. No one's gonna tune in. No, people was tuning in. People was tuning in. They at the end of the day, they love her. People are
yeah,
forgiving. And she had a virtual audience and they were pleased with her apology. And I think that's where, as we do what we do and we continue to go higher,
hmm
and other folks that are maybe at levels higher than us, you just kind of have to accept certain things and keep it pushing.
yeah,
Do what you can do.
yeah,
If somebody get mad at me, hey, I'm sorry, it's heartfelt. But if you choose not to take the forgiveness or extend forgiveness, or you choose not to accept the apology,
yeah,
Peace. I'm out. You know what I'm saying? That's you because now it's on you. It's not on me
It's
anymore.
on you.
That's it.
It's on you, point blank
Mhm.
and period. I saw that you listed on here. You checked out the Emmys.
Man, so they had first responders, right? It was really kind of cool. And yes, in sorry, Lord, typical Negro fashion, I only tuned in for some. You know, I was like, when it got like when I saw, sorry, white people, when I saw too many white people in a row, I was like, this they ain't really showcasing black people no more. I'm gone. You know what I'm saying?
I turned into the urban section of the Emmys.
Right. I think you're right.
All 3 minutes of it, I'm gonna catch. But
right. It's like in a horror movie. They put us up front. You know what I'm saying? Get us over with quick. You know what I'm saying? Appease us. Let's get it done. Put them up front and we ain't got to worry about them no more. So once that part was over, I was gone. But what I thought was really neat is that they had first responders announcing the winners. And I thought that was so cool.
Oh, yeah.
That was so cool, you know, and I think it's a wonderful way for them to really and truly show or pay homage to the first responders because so many people in Hollywood caught the booger booger. You know what I'm saying? They caught that booger booger. And the first responders was like, "Hey, ain't you so and so?" Oh, don't touch me. No, but they were still there. They were still there to doctor on them, love on them, and care on them, regardless of who they were. And you know, they needed that, and I thought it was an awesome thing for the Emmys to do. There were a couple of the I hate to say African American, a couple of Black folks that won. They had on the Brianna t-shirts just to show that support for her and her family continually or whatever. And so I thought that was pretty cool. The whole I think one person had on a Black Lives Matter t-shirt. And that's cool. You know, these stars, some of these stars that did win, they were at home, you know, because that was virtual. First time ever, of course, that the Emmys were virtual. And they had the lowest attendance that they ever had. But again, kind of in a pandemic. So but these people though they were winning from home and it was pretty cool. It was one chick, and I forget her name and I forget what show she was in. Oh well, sorry. But when she won, she was like, Mama, I won. Ew, calling her Mama. Mama was like, yes, baby. That's so good. You can hear her. I'm like, that's how you do it back out.
Won what, sugar?
Right.
Give me what that is.
Right. Emma, you want an animal, baby? Oh, that's messy. Don't do that in there on the good couch. Take that to the bathroom. You know, but it was really cool. So it was something. It was cool to see. So real quick, the corona numbers. St. Louis were up to 116. St. Louis is now growing a little bit more rapidly in cases in Illinois. Illinois slowed down. Illinois is only gaining about. This is gonna sound bad. They're only gaining about 1,000 cases. 2,500 cases a week, where we creeping up. Like we jumped, we're at 116, where last week we was at like maybe 79, 89K. We jumped over 100. So we're picking up rapidly. So we got
we're trying to catch up.
Oh, shit. I mean, shoot.
Watch this. Yeah. And here's the thing. That we could literally be trying to catch up. Somebody in a high place could have said, hey, y'all ain't got enough cases. And it's sad that we have to think like that, but we got to think like that. It's like we've been seeing, you know, like I've got in my old neighborhood, I've recently known a few people who got shot, and they need bullets removed out of their body, and you trying to check my temperature and see what this COVID is doing. I got some hot ones in me right now.
And I ain't talking about bars. I'm not talking about bars.
I ain't talking about bars. Can we do that later? I mean, these things move. It's crazy, man. So I pray for our leadership and that, you know, this is legit across the board. And I hate to see that people are dying, but you know how these things roll, Michelle. 50 years from now, somebody will put out a publication saying the great COVID-19 hoax of 2020. And all of the stuff will be in there, how it just
Yeah.
It was all made up and all that kind of stuff. And I hate that because they'll be like, this is what the real agenda was. Oh, while you were distracted with COVID,
We
these are
over here.
the bills that got passed to further suppress you and
Seriously.
all that kind of stuff, man. So,
Yep.
nevertheless, I digress, man. When we get back on the other side of this break, we're going to talk about the things that your children are exposed to. Answer me this, ladies and gentlemen. Can we do anything about all the things that our children are being exposed to? If we can, what do you think we should be doing differently? Should we not give them cell phones? Should we lock the cell phones? Should we have passwords on the cable? What is it that can be done to help slowly curtail, right? Michelle, I learned that in English. What can we do to help curtail the exposure of negativity amongst our children? You guys keep it locked right here.
Hey, good morning, Wealth Champions. Hey, listen, if you want to be financially successful, then you have to do what financially successful people do. And I know there's a few things that all wealthy people have in common. Number one, they understand that building wealth is a team sport. Number two, they understand the power of capitalism and business enterprise. Number three, they love to use systems and leverage. And number four, they all have mentors. My name is H. Cortez, also known as Financial Health Mentor. And for the last 5 years, I've been helping hardworking Americans get all of these things in place with one single membership. If you want to learn more about that, go to myperfectmoneyplan.com. Again, that's myperfectmoneyplan.com. And you're going to get a team of professionals, so you're not building wealth by yourself. You're going to get a system that's going to help you transform your finances. And last but not least, you're going to get some great mentorship to help you execute your game plan. So again, go to myperfectmoneyplan.com, and I'll see you on the other side.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the St. Louis Hustle Podcast. And Michelle was ready. She was waiting on it.
I was a little bit.
I'm your host, Cortez Hustle. That's our co-host, Michelle A. And today we're going to get into a conversation about maximum exposure, direct exposure. What is your children being exposed to that they shouldn't, right? There's a lot going on, a lot to unpack here. What are we going to do about it? Is there anything we can do about it? Was this all part of the plan? Right? Is it's all part of it, man? Social media and children, does that all? How does all that work? Cell phones and children, cable TV and children. Where do we draw the line? And at what age group or level of maturity do we say, hey, at all costs, our kids can't be exposed to that before this age? What say you, Michelle?
Man, you know what is so funny? As you were saying that, I reflect. I have to reflect. So I was reflecting, and I remember back in the day with us, it was like cable TV, right? When we came up, it was like your mom was like, "Don't be caught watching this," and then as soon as they go to bed, I'd be trying to watch that. But it was cable TV back in the day, and so now with these millennials and these babies that are growing up in this era. It's not just TV, it's TV and the internet and phones. And I think that we just have, there's so much here. But phones, you mentioned cell phones. I don't think that I got my children's cell phones till they were teenagers, right? And there were people in school with them that had cell phones in elementary school. And I don't believe that I think my older girl might have been a freshman. And my younger girl, they was in middle school. So my baby girl might have been 5th, 6th grade, and my older girl might have been 7th grade. And I remember you got your phone, you can't take it to school. You can only get your phone when you come home. And guess what? At night when it's time to go to bed, give it here. Give it here. Turn on my TV. And that's the way we did it until my older girl, she got in high school, she could keep her phone 24/7. I didn't monitor it, but I would go through their phones at night, because I need to know who you're talking to. My baby girl, she was elementary, and they used to have a site before Facebook. It might have been at the same time as Facebook, but it was for younger kids called Bebo. I don't know if you remember that.
I
And so
remember people.
my daughter had a Bebo page, and I'm like, okay, well, that seems like it's pretty harmless. Not when you are 10 on there talking to somebody that claims to be a female that's 24. What the hell you got a comment? You 10 years old with somebody in a whole nother state that's 20. You 10 and she's 24. She just be encouraging me. That's how predators do. You know what I'm saying? Male or female, but 9 chances out of 10, they're kids, right? And they're naive and they don't know who they're talking to. They see cool pictures and someone that they think they can look up to when they get hooked in by that, you know? And before you know it, they, we lost them. So it's I think it's just really a matter of just monitoring. You got to watch what your kids do, As I was researching for this, I found a really interesting quote, and it was just really cool. I know you like to cite the source, so I can cite the source. I know my sources. All right, so it says, it used to be the kids would have to go out of their way to find these sorts of materials, but now they just need to simply turn on the TV or go to the internet. And that was quote was made by William Doherty. He's a professor of family and social science at the University of Minnesota. So,
wow.
But yeah, they make it easy now for kids to kind of get to that, get to the things that they shouldn't get to, and it's crazy. We want you guys to weigh in on this, people raise their kids differently. I think that, some of the direct exposure that's out there, that we just kind of need to be aware of and be conscious of, the obvious ones: TV, the internet, music.
Yeah.
I can go a whole number on music. Media ads and even toys, for real.
Even Disney, man. Have you ever seen those videos on Disney where they show you all the sexual stuff that's in
Disney?
And that doggone SpongeBob, please.
Don't play that SpongeBob.
Rated R TV, man. Y'all gotta be careful with SpongeBob.
SpongeBob is my dude, which probably says a whole lot right now.
In another room, and I hear something, and I'm like, "What is y'all watching?" And I go in there, and it's SpongeBob SquarePants. I'm like, nah, turn this mess off, man.
Yeah.
Y'all understand? Just turn it off. Just turn it off.
Right. No more SpongeBob in this house right now. SpongeBob is banned from the household, from the Cortez household. Yeah. Man, my kids was Disney kids, right? And I was a parent that monitored their television use. So they lived on Disney, and Disney was cool early on, but as Disney grew and more kids got on and they gained popularity as a network, then they start showing some of the same stuff that you get on cable TV. They're showing these kid-based TV shows that are supposed to be drenched in reality, but they're doing more hugging and kissing on these shows than you get on some of the adult TV. And I guess, I don't know if they're trying to say, well, this is what your kids are doing. Don't feed my kids that. You know what I'm saying? It was really crazy. Disney and Nickelodeon both were kind of like that, I was tripping off of something on a list. Of course, music. I used to monitor what my kids listen to because if the lyrics are too rough, that stuff gets implanted. The Bible says, be careful what you take in through your eye gates and your ear gates. That stuff, no matter how minute, it permeates the mind of an adolescent, because that's when they're learning. That stage, especially 5 to 10, their brain is picking up everything consciously and subconsciously. Print ads, things you may see in a magazine. They go through these magazines and they see people halfway dressed. They see people with, they see these, really, really tiny, thin girls, and think that that's what I'm supposed to look like. That's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to be in the catalog kissing on a man. You know what I'm saying? With half my clothes on, with wet hair. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. And you know what I'm saying? And it plants a seed that that's what they should be doing. And sooner or later, you're going to begin to see, if you don't monitor that, you're going to begin to see those actions in your kids. The toys. I'm sorry, I'm on a wreck. Go ahead. You better jump in.
No, you're absolutely correct. And I think for on the surface, we look at just the blatantly obvious negative
Mhm.
stuff, right?
Yep.
I
Yep.
father 5 boys, so I getting my kids their cell phones and stuff,
Mhm.
and I'm telling my wife, they watching porn on the phones, right?
Ha!
I mean, I was a kid, I was a young boy at the time, and she's like, no, they ain't. I got some good boys. I said, lady,
Right.
those kids go watch the porn on the phone.
Right. 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 Why is Junior always in the bathroom with the phone?
It's like I'm like all 5 of them, lady. They all
Oh,
5 of them at
that's a
one
lot of
point.
porn.
Or yes, that's what is like. Like you don't understand where I come from. See, I come from, Michelle, when there was one magazine, and then you had to hide the magazine, and then the fellas in the house, right? There's 3 boys in the house.
That's
The fellas in
hilarious.
the house, we would hide the magazine from each other.
Wow.
It's like, man,
I
what you doing with
cannot.
the magazine? It's like, hey, mama was coming, so I had to stash it over here real quick. Well, it
That
ain't in
is
the
crazy.
usual spot. So
That
I
is
knew
crazy.
that when the kids started getting phones, and we did what we could to block,
Yeah.
their access to
Mhm.
internet and all that kind of stuff, man. Anything that you do, they can just go on to YouTube and figure out how to undo. So
That's
it's crazy that that's my conversation is do we fight the battle and trying to stop the exposure, or do we step up our game and start having the conversation about what they're being exposed to? Because I don't think we're stopping the exposure. I don't. Because when you think about it, yes, I monitored where my friends went to my kids' friends went to hang out. I prefer that
Mhm.
they hung out, that all of their friends came over to the house versus them
Mhm.
going to somebody else's house. Because
Right.
I remember one of my first exposures to porn was at a friend's house. And when
Wow.
I say
Yeah.
at a friend's house, I'm talking about this friend's mama and daddy would cue it up, and all 6 of us is laying and we did.
Jesus.
So you don't know what's going on in other folks' households and stuff. So do
That's
you fight the battle of trying to
mm,
keep it from them, or do you fight to build a relationship where I should have been comfortable enough to come on and say, Mom, you know what? You probably don't want me going over this person's house because
ain't nothing to
all
say
they
to
do
that.
is watch porn on TV. Uh,
That is, or the third option. Do you go over there and fight the parents? I
or
go
the,
for
right.
option 3. I vote
Or do
option
you
3.
go and fight the parents? So it was crazy. Now all of us in sweatpants, we can't get up and leave because we all looking crazy because been sitting here watching porn all morning. Uh,
I cannot.
so
I
so hey,
cannot.
we trying to go outside and play football, but we got to wait 30 minutes.
Right.
It's, it's crazy,
I need to
man. But
cool down.
I mean,
I need to
seriously,
cool
we
down.
we would go in the house, and it's on and it's blaring, and they walking about doing what they do as parents, and they cooking and they fixing the sandwiches and all, being otherwise just regular parents,
That
just
is
on the big screen, and
nasty.
we just like, really. And you know how porn is, you see a bunch of stuff that you shouldn't see until you're at least 30.
Right, seriously. I ain't gonna lie. Okay, this is gonna sound it's gonna sound fake and it's gonna sound jaded, but I was way before I watched for real, like a porno, like not a movie with nudity in it, but when I saw for real porno, I was like 25, over 25. Because in the past, even when I was seeing movies with nudity in it, I inadvertently would look away because
Mhm.
it just felt wrong, right? And
Right.
even when I did watch a porno for the first time, I was like,
Right.
you ain't got to get that close. I ain't
Yeah.
never seen it from that angle. What's going on? Is that what's going on down there? Because I never seen that.
Yeah,
It's a
great.
wild ride. It's a wild ride. So that's wild that you said that. I'll say this, age appropriate, right?
Mhm.
So you see sometimes kids as young as 4 or 5, I say all the way up to 10, right? So I would say that at the 10 years old, where you made the statement, you sit them down and talk to them about some things. I would say right around 10, because they're going into the adolescent stage or whatever, kind of for real, adolescent
Mhm.
tween. And yeah, I think you could talk to them about some age appropriate things at 10, 11, 12, etc. But that gap between toddlerism, new word
Mhm.
for use it, toddlerism and maybe up to 10, 8, 9 years old, that's where I think we need to keep age appropriate things age appropriate, you know. On one of the lists that I have is
Mhm.
uh, monitoring what your kids wear, right? And I saw this, I was out one day and I saw this, and this lady had her toddler with her, baby probably was maybe 2, 3 years old.
Mhm.
And the toddler had out an outfit that I know I would see at the club, right?
Mm.
It was like a halter top and some, leggings with the bell bottoms,
Mm.
and she was a little chubby checker, you know what I'm saying? So a little stuff was a little clingy. And others were going, oh, she's so cute, she's so cute. No,
She's doing her
no.
best. She's doing her best, honey boo boo.
You know, right, right. And at 3 years old, you would think, oh, it's harmless. She's just a child. No, you're planting seeds that this is the
Mhm.
way that this child wants to look when she grows up.
Right.
And we
Right.
can't keep doing that to our babies. Same thing
Right.
with little boys. I've seen little boys sagging, little boys with their hat to the side, and little boys, walking and emulating what their dads are doing, and their dads ain't doing positive stuff.
Yeah.
It's not cool, because the kids are too young to know anything different, and they come up thinking that this is what they're supposed to do. This is how they're supposed to dress, and it's not cute. I think, personal opinion, I think in those situations you sometimes you set your kids up,
Yeah.
because predators are out there. You don't know who's lurking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a family member, sometimes it's a stranger. But when you
Mhm.
send them out into the world to daycare and all of that, with the stomachs hanging out and all of that, kids are exploratory when they're, I would say, between 3 and 5 years old. They're
Yeah.
extremely exploratory, and they like to touch and feel. And what's that? Let me touch it. Let me see it. And
Mhm.
again, you're not monitoring what they're watching on TV. So while you watching the Lil Wayne video or the Gucci Man video, they're watching it too, and
Mhm.
they seeing them
Mhm.
hump all over each other. And that's what kids do. They grab and
Yeah.
they emulate what they see. And
Yeah.
we're teaching them, we're planting the seed that this is what you should be doing. And then we get
Right.
mad when they do it. And then you wonder why. Well, I don't know why he touched the little girl booty. Maybe because he saw Lil Wayne touching booties in videos. You let him see the booty toucher, right? We just have to
You
take better
have to
care,
get exposed to. Yeah, and I think, and I think you were going down this road a little earlier.
Mhm.
Is so that's the blatantly, seemingly obvious things that we want to keep
Yeah.
them away from. But then
Hmm.
you have to start looking at the not so obvious things. You talked
Yeah.
about imagery
Yeah.
and magazines and
Yeah.
TV, that
Hmm.
those things that will destroy one's self-image
Yep.
before you even realize it. Before you can build up that self-image, it's
Yep.
already ripped to shreds
Already.
because of the things that you expose them to.
Hmm.
Um, and this is why the conversation has to start pretty fairly early, especially in
Hmm.
this regard,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of belittling that happens
Hmm.
without necessarily it being extremely negative, right?
Right. Right.
So, for instance, if I'm a young lady and I'm in class and the teacher only talks about three other girls in the class being beautiful,
Yeah.
right? And those three girls happen to be light skinned with long hair. What does that
Hmm.
say to me if I'm a little bit darker and my hair is a little bit kinky, right? So, even
Hmm.
without the teacher saying you ugly,
Yep. That's
you're
what get
saying
next.
you
Yep.
ugly.
Yep.
Even
Seriously.
without the magazine saying dark skin is not
Yes.
in. Well,
Hmm.
if all I ever see in the magazine is light skin or white, then you're saying dark skin is not
Yep.
in. So I think to go beyond the obvious, right? We don't want our kids watching porn at 5, 6, 7 years old.
Right.
But some of the other things are even more detrimental
Hmm.
than watching porn at
Yep.
5, 6, 7 years old.
Oh
And I
yeah.
think we gotta really start having, the conversations, not
Hmm.
to the with the graphic nature of an adult, but we've got to start looking at the way the system brings our children up so that they
Yep.
can be ultimate consumers. We've
Yep.
got to at when they're 3 and 4 and 5, and McDonald's is saying, "Hey, get this toy in a Happy Meal." Let me tell you about what the toy in a Happy Meal are doing. They really setting you up for this. And when you see this on magazine covers, what they're really trying to make you believe is that this is the standard of beauty. But let me show you this, right? So we got to counter their moves every step of the way, or else it's going to be hard to undo the things that this world does to our children for their capitalistic gain.
Yeah. Oh man, totally true, right? I was also thinking, you tapped on this a little bit. There are, there are the direct exposures, we were talking about, then there's the subliminal ones, right? And then I think that sometimes, because I did this, right? I did it, sorry. We put our kids in situations that grow them up too soon. We take them and we place them, here you go, happy life. And we can't do that. Some of those examples, now sometimes it's things that are beyond our control sometimes, but we got to get smarter and think outside the box. One of the reasons, or one of the examples would be latchkey kids, right? Oh, they 12, they can stay by themselves. Oh, they 12, they there together. You set them up. You know what I'm saying? There's no supervision. I don't care if they're at home. They need to be supervised. I was a latchkey kid. My kids were like, I couldn't wait till my kids was latchkey kids because I had to pay for daycare. But you set them up. Even when you tell or try, you have to realize, think about yourself, right? In all totality and honesty, and then times 10. I know when I was home by myself, I did everything. I watched what I watched, and I played with fire. I did all kinds of stuff. Multiply times 10 for your kids, and just think about that. Another thing we do is, used to get popped in the mouth for this back in the day. Folks don't do it enough now, because I won't pop other kids in the mouth. Letting kids sit up under you while you have inappropriate conversation.
Yeah.
That's foolishness. You can't talk in code. Kids are smart. They're smarter than what you think. You know what I'm saying? So talking in code in front of your 8-year-old, she know you talk about how you got D down last night. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They can figure that out. It's
you know, with pig Latin on them, like that's something, right?
Right.
Come on, the first time you put it at the end, and you add a ye at the. Come on, man.
Not pig Latin.
I didn't decoded that long time.
Just went back to the 70s. They went pig Latin.
When pig Latin on the kids, then we think the kids don't know what we're talking about, or we spelling stuff that we don't even know how to spell, and the kids sitting back like, "Dang, how you spell that, mama?"
Right. There's 2 S's in that word. You know what I'm saying? There's 2 of them. It's
talking about you gonna be his dessert. No, but you spell desert, mama.
I cannot. That word used to get me too. I'm sorry. You gonna be his dry land? Ooh, that's uncomfortable. What is that now? Ooh, get the lotion, mama. But back in my day, you get popped in the mouth. My mom would be like, "Yeah, girl, such and such. Get out my mouth." And that was it. You know what I'm saying? Go sit back. I ain't talking to you. I'm talking about you. Right. But we let kids sit up and absorb these conversations. And again, what they hear through here is coming out here. We already talked about how you dress your kids.
And the movie, man, the movie with the little boys, it was just out last year. And when you said that, basically these is 3 or 4 little boys, and they trying to be grown, and it's funny as all get out. But what you see in the movie, and what we have to be careful of, is you see their interpretation of what the parents are saying and doing, and it's all jacked up, right? So they're doing some weird stuff, right? They're out with their parents' toys, right? Because they're thinking that it's something else. And when you're letting children who can't comprehend grown conversations hear those snippets and those sound bites, they take their interpretation and they go and share that with their friends. And now that's why kids think that if you kiss a girl, you're gonna get her pregnant. Right. Because they didn't went from the interpretation, I saw mommy and daddy kissing. Now mommy said, I got a new little brother coming. And I told my friends, listen, you don't want to have no kids, and you better not kiss her, because she's gonna get pregnant, and somehow baby is coming.
Right. And we are too young for that. It's not what we need in our lives,
So their interpretation of what they think they hear too, and then what happens is they go bounce it against their friend, and then their friend mess around and set them straight. Nah, what you heard was, what really went on is, my mama don't be doing that. And now it's a whole nother thing.
Right. There was a video, I think, on Facebook, and the little boy heard his mom in the next room, mom and dad having sex. And so she videoing him talking about some, what you say you heard, and he's imitating her sex noise.
Yep.
And what things that she was saying. That's first of all, that's not cute. It's not cute, There's two more points. Before that, one of the other situations we put our kids in is when you leave small children with other kids who are slightly older, thinking that there's strength in numbers. Oh, now they can watch them. Not a good setup, not at all. And again, a lot of this stuff, I did, and I left my kids with older kids, with older relatives. They still get exposed. You leaving your 5, 6, 7-year-old with 13, 14-year-olds, plural, saying they're going to be, teenagers, and they're going to do what teenagers do. But you got this little one absorbing that, so it don't have to come directly from you. It can be coming from who they're around,
That's right.
You can't, it used to be you could trust the neighborhood kid to babysit for you. I was a neighborhood, when I lived in California, I was a kid that babysitted, for a couple people on the block, but I did it. My mom was like, no friends can't come over. You by yourself, and you bet not let me hear it. Something happened, or else I'm going to split you in half. I'm sorry, okay. And then she put the fear of God in me, for me to be responsible and all of that. But it's a lot of folks that they're not. And stuff happens.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, to your kids,
I had a friend in elementary whose mama worked third shift. Dad was a truck driver.
Wow.
And it was a party.
Right.
And really, and she was someone who just wasn't, she was super nice, and she wanted to be liked. So it was one of those situations where we took full advantage of her, and the situation. So it was almost like, let us in or else. We coming in and we're gonna eat up your food, and we're gonna ransack the house. And every night the party was at our house. So everybody get quiet when a mom calls to check on her, right? That kind of stuff. It was crazy. And help her put the place back together after we done tore it up for the night, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
We out. That right. Was she the only female?
Yeah, I mean, she wasn't the only female at the parties. She would have a couple of her homegirls, and because everybody on the a few blocks, like, hey man, this. And then she had her people that she would let in and she wouldn't let in, but at the same time, it was always a gang of folks. And then she go through those periods where she's on the punishment. She can't be at home at that time, and then she wins her mom's trust back, and then for long it's on again.
Right, it's on and popping.
Right.
It's a shame. Now I'll say this about older kids. I did so much. This is therapeutic. When my kids were teenagers, I'd probably say between 12 to maybe 15, 16, was right at the height or heart of when I was doing comedy, and I was doing club comedy. So I don't think I started Christian comedy yet. And I was doing Christian. Okay, maybe they were a little bit younger. They might have been, I say 10 to 14. And so that was right when I was doing club comedy. In the heart of me, I used to be an MC. I used to do the comedy. I was out. I was doing comedy at one point, 5 days a week, at different spots, covering other people's shows, whatever. And so when I did club comedy, I used to have a drink in me to get me going. So they would, they see mama coming in intoxicated, because, of course, they latchkey kids. They old enough to stay by themselves. Right. They see mama coming in, intoxicated or whatnot. And they picked that up subliminally, so that when they got older, they couldn't wait to do what they saw mama do, this one occasion, this was real bad. This is what you shouldn't do. But I came in. It was one of them nights. I was out there and I thought I parked in my driveway, but in actuality, I parked in the neighbor's driveway. That's the first thing. I came in the house, and I don't know why I would do this, but I come in the house and I knew I would need to eat and put some grease on my stomach. But for some reason, I think my mind was like, you should take a shower first. But the bacon was calling me. I was hungry. I wanted bacon. Always when I've been eating more bacon. So here I am in the kitchen, frying bacon, butt naked. And my kids are confused because they come out like, oh, is it morning? Is it breakfast time? And they come in the kitchen like, whoa. Why are you standing there butt naked frying bacon? Go to bed. It's not time to get up yet. It's 3 in the morning. Go to bed. I smell bacon. Go to bed. I'm like, right. The next day, I wonder why I got all these little burn marks on me all over because I've been frying bacon for naked. Then my neighbors come over, knock on the door like, "Hey, you want to get your car to the driveway? We need to go to work." And I'm a neighbor. But they saw this as kids, and they are a bit more responsible than me. But both my kids are drinkers. Both my kids are partiers. And I'm not saying it in a derogatory way. But I planted that seed. Now, they could have turned out that way anyway. Society and what they were seeing, I helped push that along.
Yeah.
I was who they were exposed to the majority of the time.
Yeah.
And they saw mama do it, and mama's cool. That's what I want to do. And, we got to watch what we do when we're around them because they, especially for single moms, you don't think they see your daughters, they see.
They see. And then when you think about it, it so much happens in the subconscious. And this is one of my favorite phrases when I'm talking to people about kids and parenting. People ask, man, how y'all do it? Y'all got 5 sons, and then there's a nephew and a cousin that we helped graduate. So 7 boys have graduated from this house.
Wow.
Right. Last one, boy, he just barely made it. COVID helped him a whole lot. Wasn't for COVID. I don't know, he been in summer school or something, but 7 boys graduated, from this household. But what you're explaining is what people don't realize. Kids pick up more than they're taught. And that's the thing. We don't realize that they pick up on so much, right? I want you to just think about this. And I'm sorry, I didn't lock my door, so my dog then came in, opened the door. He then came in chilling. He's just gonna bust up in that mother lover and go,
I'm on the show, right? He said, I'm on the show. You said St. Louis talent. So your dog like, I do this. Why don't you put me on? I shake and everything.
I'm telling you, done bust right up there. But they pick up more than they're taught. I want you to think about this. Did you sit down and teach your girls every word in the English language? No. You taught them 3 or 4 words, and before long, they holding whole conversations. Why? Because they pick up on everything that's going on all around them. And why do we not think that they're going to pick up on certain habits? They're going to pick up on certain behaviors. They're going to pick up on certain inclinations, and all of that stuff matters. So having these conversations, some people think that if I have a sex conversation, that's going to make them want to have sex. Well, guess what, Joker? They on Facebook. Their friends are having sex. They're being pulled into chat rooms, and they're seeing those. We get the chain messages in inboxes where there's hearts, and there's if you pass this to 10 people, you're going to be blessed.
Old people stuff.
Right. They get the viral messages in their inbox that's on other stuff.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Be like, oh, how do that? Twerk videos.
So
and all that.
Thinking you having the conversation is going to make them want to have sex. It's actually the opposite. You have the real conversation will actually make them not want to have it because what they're not getting the reality of. They're getting the fun sound bites. Yes, girl, if you do it, man, if you get with her, then yes, you're going to have all of this bliss. And I can tell my sons, no, son, you're going to have blisters if you're not careful. Right. So now they can, no, seriously, now they can say, okay, is it worth it? Do I
Whew.
And we gotta, I think not having a conversation
Yeah.
omit that part.
Yeah.
And we're trying to not have the conversation because we're thinking that's going to lead them down the path. But not having a conversation can get you to know your children. Not having a conversation about, hey, how does that really make you feel? We've got 4 magazines here, and all of these women are small in size, got long hair. How does that make you feel? You know what, Mom, it makes me feel the way I wish we could have some magazines with some different variety of people. I never see anybody that looks anything remotely close. See, we're not having those conversations.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it could start. I don't think we're going to be able to stop this exposure train. It is rolling all gas, no brakes.
Right. We
need to figure out how to counter some of the stuff, because what happens is when the kids get older, they'll say, you know what, I remember Mom had this conversation. I remember Dad told me that. I told my son, we had sex talk. I was like, listen, you know how you go to the doctor and you get a shot with the needle, right? It's like, yeah, there's a needle, but at the end of that needle, there's a tiny, tiny hole, and that's how the medicine comes out. Well, guess what? At the end of you, there's a tiny, tiny hole, and you got a bunch of little kids that's going to come out, and you might not want to have them start growing in somebody else. So we've got to talk about all of these things. And I think that's where we're dropping the ball more so than, because you can do what you do. You put the child protective password on the computers and on the phones and on the cable and all that stuff. But they can be like me. They're going to their friend's house and where the friends of parents are free spirits. Oh, yeah, we talk about sex all the time. We encourage it. Oh, yeah, we let our kids drink a little wine. And if you're not having the conversation, your kids don't get confused when they go see some other stuff. So at least have the conversations.
If you're trying to hide it from them, they're going to go find it. I had a mama that was just like, keep your legs closed. The end.
Right.
Don't let little boys touch on you. That's nasty. It's pretty good to me. You don't know where I've been. You know, how can something so right be so wrong?
Right. That ain't what I experienced though, Mama.
Right, exactly. Nasty to me.
Watch this. That's what you saying. But every time I turn around, Daddy touching on you.
Thank you. You stand in the doorway, Daddy got his hand in your pants. I'm like, oh. But first chance I got, I let a little boy stick his hand down my pants. You know what I'm saying? It just, if you shield them from it or keep them from it, they're kids, right? Mm-hmm. They're inquisitive. If you can't have this, it's human nature. You can't have this. All the way back to Adam and Eve. You can't have this.
Right.
You did anyway. You know what I'm saying? Because, there's an enemy at work and he's always in the mind. You know what I'm saying? We're a sinful people or whatnot. So you tell a kid that they can't have something, they're going to figure out how to get it. So if you're not having a sex talk with them at home, they're going to go somewhere else and experience it live and then live a couple. You don't have to have it with them. They're going to go find it. You don't want the world to teach it. You can teach them, or you can let the world teach you.
I was just going to say that. You're not having to talk, somebody else is. I can guarantee you that. And the same thing with the self-esteem talk, the self-confidence talk, the manage your money talk, the friends talk.
Yeah.
Guys, we need to be talking to our babies
absolutely
as much as possible. And I'm guilty of, when my sons were coming up, and the younger two played basketball. I was coaching basketball, so that was a lot of the conversation, right?
Yeah.
But I missed a lot of opportunities to talk real life stuff beyond what they were interested in, and some conversations that when they get a little older, they're gonna realize, my dad never talked to me about that. My mom never talked to me about that. Yeah. And I'm not saying that to shame anybody, but it's just fix it, right? If you were that person that was like me, then let's start having all of those conversations. See what they're talking about. My wife talks to my middle son, and she always asks him, where is he on his happy meter? Mm-hmm. Right? How are you feeling? And I was like, man, I never asked him about his happy meter. I didn't even know he had a happy meter.
That's a mom thing.
But you gotta, those are the conversations that you gotta have with your children. Remember, we're emotional beings, we're spiritual beings, we're physical beings, and all of that stuff is wrapped in. And children are different, and
Yeah.
especially if you haven't picked up the 5 love languages for children, then
Oh, for
that's
children?
a great, they've got an addition for your
Wow.
children, so you can
Wow.
understand, because one of my primary love languages is I'm physical touch and I'm words of affirmation, right?
Okay.
So imagine me being overly sensitized to physical touch.
Yeah.
That opens the door for people to touch
Yep.
me in the wrong way as a kid,
Right.
right? Because
Mhm.
that's how I feel love, right?
Right.
And then imagine me, my love language being words of affirmation. And I'm constantly being told that I'm stupid, or I don't measure up, or I'm never being affirmed.
Yep.
So imagine the kid who grows up in the parents where words of affirmation is their love language, physical touch is the other kid's love language. Well, they've got a mom that hugs on them to death, but the
Yeah.
mom also wicked with the tongue.
Ooh, yeah,
One
that's out there.
is mom loves me to death. Even though she's
Mhm.
wicked with her tongue, I get 10 hugs a day. I'm good.
Mhm.
Other kid whose love language is words of affirmation,
Mhm.
mom hugs on me all the time, but she never tells me she loves me.
Mm.
Mom hugs on me all the time, but she never tells me I'm smart, I'm beautiful. On the other hand, she's quick to tell me I got to see on this report because your dumb butt didn't do.
Yep. I blame the daddy.
It's a difference between
The daddy.
cursing your kids and cussing your kids.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Better be
never.
Okay, better be careful. Be
For
careful.
real.
So I'll let you have the last words this time, Shea.
No, you good. I just final thoughts, when kids at the playing day, because that's the easiest way.
That is
I do
fun.
it all the time. I do it all the time. But all jokes aside, we just have to watch our kids, hug and love our kids, and then we just have to learn the tips to counteract those negative influences. You have to be really conscious and tuned into your kids. Not so much that you smother, but just tuned in so that you can shape and mold, you want to shape and mold. You want to be a part of that process. You can shape and mold them again, or you're going to let somebody else do it. I chose to try to shape and mold my kids myself. So they picked up a lot of really good qualities from me specifically. However, they picked up the majority of the things they do for me. So some good and some not so good, Hopefully
people. It is what it is.
Hopefully they're not frying bacon butt naked, but hey, it could happen.
Well, they both got their own place, so I'm sure
Thank God.
they probably experimented with. I remember I'm having a vivid memory.
Right.
We woke up and it was 3 a.m. and we smelled bacon in my. Well, let me see what that's all about.
Right. Make the bacon taste better. They had to. Mama did it all the time. That's how you make good bacon. I'm done. Take it. Last words, final words, Cortez.
Yeah, man. It is. It is trying to create the balance, right?
Yeah.
They're going to experience some things that they're not quite ready for. It's your job to help them to process that, right? Mm-hmm. And I think, and you're helping them process that, and ending with, that's why we don't allow that in this household. That's why I try to keep you away from that, because when you become a little bit more mature, you can better deal with this. That's why we say, hey, wait until you're a little bit older to really start trying to get into that stuff. And then the other thing is, Michelle, sometimes kids want to be kids, and we don't want them to be.
Thank you.
And we start pushing them. I was sharing with somebody the other day about a money tip. It was like, I remember when my sons enjoyed the LA Gear light up shoes and the Transformer shoes you can get from Payless. Now, my ego says my sons need to be in Jordans or Nikes or something like that. Mm-hmm. And they said, Daddy, can I get the light up shoes?
Yeah.
And that could have saved me a boatload of money, because now when they start growing and those feet start getting big, Michelle, and those Jordans go from $40 to $140, and you didn't break that appetite.
Yep. Yeah.
should have kept them in them doggone light up shoes as long as I could.
You should have kept them in the blinky doos as long as possible.
It's,
As long as
it's,
possible.
and it's the same way with the conversation piece, guys. If they're kids and they want to be outside running around playing, let that happen. Let that happen. Right. And as long as they can, but when they start, changing, there's something that always causes the change, and ask about those things that, you used to play football all the time. You don't so much. Why are you on the video game so much? Because on the video game, I'm actually on the internet. And so you got to be careful, man. Watch them and have the conversation to counter what they're doing so that they can grow up with balance, because media makes everything sound all hunky-dory, and they never tell the kids about the negative repercussion. So
the downside.
With that, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, get your money up. Yes.
Subscribe, like and share, and go up to the YouTube and do the thing.
Yes.
Subscribe.
YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify. Go find us on all these platforms, man, and tell everybody that we're doing a good job over here at St. Louis Hustle Podcast. Till next time, get your money up, because you absolutely can do it. But more importantly, you deserve to do it each and every single one. And hustle up.